Hello, I'm the Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong YouTube channel. It's me, your friendly neighborhood comic book dude. Here with another round of stuff. Have you missed me? Have you missed the posters? Clearly not. I had people commenting on the weeks past that have already gone by for posters. And I'm like, keep up with the current stuff. We finally got a poster back up last week, and nobody commented for the poster. Well, maybe the last week's poster just wasn't their thing. We got Thanos, the Mad Titan, this week with a, little foreshadowing going on, a little baby Gamora, getting ready to be molded by him. Maybe that'll do it for somebody. As always, if you want to get your hands on that, comment a sequential number in the comments. I will go through those. We'll throw them into a randomizer, assuming we get some people commenting on those. And then I'll let people know who the winner would be in the following video. Alright, so, why don't we get to it? These babies have been coming and going every single week. People just love these DC Directs. Especially when they're modeled after the Alex Ross Justice comic. Beautiful little 1/6 scale bats. Let's see, what did we have that guy going for? Woo! He's a pricey one. He is his low was 160, his high was 200. So we're gonna start him at 180. We'll see what happens if there's always room to negotiate, but some of these harder to come by guys, sometimes we gotta start high and then get low. But yeah, beautiful piece. There's still, oh my god, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 22, 33, 44. There were 44 DC Directs in this series, this 1/6 scale series, and I think this is only like the 4th one we've shown. That's a lot more DC Directs. I hope I keep finding them week by week. I love having that little theme of stuff to look forward to. But we'll see. So yeah, Batman to start our night off. Let's see what else. Well, why don't we keep up our Bat theme? The next stuff is for any of you fans of the Batman animated series from back in the day, which I am a fan of also. A lot of the female figures for that were actually relatively hard to come by when you were looking for the originals on them. Like original Batgirl, original Talia al Ghul. I spent most of my childhood hunting for those. I mean, I found Poison Ivy, I had Harley Quinn. I don't know, they just were hard to come by. But at some point in the early 2000s, Hasbro decided, you know what? We hear you, even though I don't know how they were getting correspondence. Probably letter, maybe dial-up email. I don't know. But they said, we hear you. We'll slap the hardest ones to come by into a little 4-pack here, and then you can, stop haranguing us. So Hasbro went about and did that. I don't know if it's because they're second waves, second editions, however you want to look at it. Cool little biopic on the back of each character in their actual Batman animated art. But yeah, I don't know if it's because they're redos or second gens or however you want to think about it. They didn't go for very much. The whole 4-pack is between 20 and 50, so we'll probably sit right there at about 35. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is maybe more for the people that want them to play with and don't care so much about keeping the OG in the plastic type dealio. And, there are people out there like that. Sometimes you just want the thing, you're not really interested about which version it is, so. There is that. Oh, what else? Ooh. Well, you guys know how I feel about my sideshows. Because I keep, ranting and raving and being when the heck am I going to find a statue of Sideshow? I know they're there. I'm going to find some. But in the meantime, we'll keep getting these, giant 12-inch clothy figures. Today we got some new Nightmare Freddy. Beautiful art. Beautiful cover from the new Nightmare. This guy in particular wasn't crazy money. Well, actually, the range was kind of weird. It was between like 35 and 101. I think we're gonna do like 65 on him. Seems fair, and I mean for a sideshow, that's pretty good. But yeah. What else? What else? This next one, actually, you know, as we get deeper and deeper into these things, I have less to say about the companies because we've already talked about a lot of them. And then rare instances come where I'm like, oh man, I found a toy from a company we haven't talked about, and I haven't like given you guys the rundown on. And this time around, I get this company where like there really isn't like much on them. I don't know if they were like one and done or if they got like bought out by somebody else. But this company called Trendmasters got their hands on the licenses for Forbidden Planet and decided they wanted to make a Robbie the Robot. But not only did they want to make a Robbie the Robot, it's remote control with sound and...
I am monitored to respond to the name Robbie.
He still works. I love it. The only downside for this guy, which I always hate, is no screen in the middle. I mean, he is considered new. There was never a screen. This is just one of those things that you like buy at the store, and they're just like, people are gonna open this and play with it. And the price might even reflect that if I recall. Actually, no, it doesn't. His range was I found the lowest I found him for was $15. However, that was figure only, without the remote control. And loose without the box or anything. And the high, the very, very tippy top, I found $175, brand new, in the same condition I would imagine this is in, everything working order, etc. That is a crazy range. The average on that's about 95, probably roll it down to 90. Wow. Even still got, there's like pieces in here too that like haven't been opened that are still behind their plastic. I had something like this as a kid that wasn't Robbie the Robot because that was before my time a little bit. There was a remote control Megazord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I imagine if I was a Forbidden Planet fan, I would just rip this bad boy open and start playing with him the same way I would if I still had that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers remote control figure. But to each their own, right? So, yeah, $90 on Robbie the Robot. This next one, let's see. Well, this is also, the price on this next piece is probably a testament to people's love or hate towards this particular film, not the franchise, but Terminator. Love us some Terminator. I think most people are in the camp of tied somewhere between 1 and 2 is their favorite. Maybe that's not true of 3 for a lot of people. As evidenced by the fact that we've got just for context here, last week we had I think it was last week we had a 25th anniversary Friday the 13th box set in the same vein as what you're about to see, a NECA box set. That one for $150. This is not anywhere near that price. We got ourselves a little end battle action from Terminator 3. Brand new, beautiful piece. And if you're like a Terminator completionist, this is probably for you. I mean, maybe you're also maybe one of those people that doesn't think Terminator 3 was terrible. I actually don't. It doesn't beat T2, but it's not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. But then again, I'm also a proponent for the Suicide Squad. Hit me with those comments. I dare you. What were we asking on this? Oof. The low for the open loose pieces of this was 20, and the high sealed was 50. My friends, I've told you over and over again, I shift with the market, so $35. Maybe you'll be the proud owner of some Terminator fight in action. No, we'll put that over here. Oh, next. Okay. This next piece is kind of pricey. And weird thing about this one, I'm not sure if they like shipped them this way. Maybe not, because I saw plenty of listings where they were just single. But this lovely Outer Limits Xanti Misfits. And the front actually opens up, and you can see this guy. Whew. He's a very interesting looking guy. This is a sideshow piece. This is in the same vein as the last Outer Limits piece I sold. Price-wise, though, this one's a lot more. This one's range was between $87 and $135. But again, I saw even higher prices, but that had like doubles, like 2 of those at the same time. I never saw Outer Limits. I'm not totally familiar with, maybe there's like scenes or something that had like 2 of these things side by side, so it feels right to show 2 together. I'm not really sure. That being said, I think this is gonna go for about $110. Might round it down to $100. As far as I can tell, the thing's never been opened. But some of the flaps are starting to like peel up. Other than that, though, the box is totally like that. Like you can see the tape there. I don't believe this thing has ever been opened, but don't crucify me if it has. We might go a little lower just to maybe compensate for what may have been an open piece. But actually, just look at this guy. I can with a fair amount of certainty guarantee he's never been opened, because there's zip ties and stuff still on his legs. There's another one like protecting his butt way and back. It's just, yeah. So, but if you're an Outer Limits fan, this is for you. Alright, what's next? Oh, this one. This is also sort of a rarity in and of itself. Actually, yeah. I had a piece similar to this last week, and I haven't quite done anything with him yet, and I have a feeling this is going to be the same idea with this guy. Maybe I'll entertain some offers, see where we go there. There was a Talkie Tina that we had, Twilight Zone bobblehead, last week, and to my surprise, I found this, which is very peculiar. I mean, it's not that peculiar because it does come from a store, so we could get it, but it was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Gremlin bobblehead. I never knew Frank to travel to San Diego, but then I did look further down, and it also has an entertainment risk sticker, so I would imagine that is in the vein of that goal. Not the goal. That would be in the same vein as if you went to like Barnes & Noble's during summer convention season and you found the summer convention pops that are the same ones that they got at the conventions. Only this was before like that was a huge deal, so they kept the logo on here, and then at a certain point the convention started to say, we want ours to have the real sticker, you guys could put something else on them. So, but the thing about this guy, the thing that makes him exclusive is the original one is black and white. This one has the color, which, if I remember right, they redid this in like one of the movies in color, maybe. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because like the whole show was black and white, so to have it in color is exclusive. Couldn't tell you. I did not find a single listing for this. I looked all over. I couldn't find what the original retail price for this was. I really don't know. I don't know what we're gonna list this for. I may just throw this down for a straight up bid. Just like start at the bottom and see where it goes, and let people go from there. I think what I might do is with him and the Joker in this week's post, I'll put at the very bottom, make an offer. Make an offer, and if it seems halfway reasonable, I'll let it go. And then I'll feel bad later if like somebody else comes with an even bigger offer. And then if no offers are made, we'll throw them up on eBay and see where we get. But, yeah. So there be that. The next one is our remaining hardcover this week. We actually had 3. But, as always, if you want some free early access to some of this stuff, I do 24 hours early on Patreon, and some people just take advantage, and they're like, hey man, I want to buy that before you put it on YouTube, and I say, guess what? You are a patron, so you can. Link for that is in the description if you are interested. It is $1 a month for that 24-hour early access to four weekly videos. 25 cents a week. Wow. But we got Thor, Volume 3, which includes... It collects Mighty Thor 153 to 194. It is the... I believe this is the regular cover and not the DM. I'm slowly figuring that out with these hardcovers. There's two covers. There's DM, which is the direct market, and then the regular cover. And direct market tends to be like homages. Like somebody more current will take an image from like one of the past issues and like redo it. And then the original covers are just like a reprint of a cover that's usually collected in the collection. And seeing more and more interest in these kind over the other one. Not that I think so far I've only found one DM cover. But I think people just like the OG. They like the way the original looks as compared to like the homage because they want it to feel like the actual comic. This guy. The range on this is pretty thin. It was between 148 and 165. I think we're going to call that an even 150. And see where we get at. Every week I look at the numbers in some of these hardcovers and I feel sort of bad putting them up at those prices, but people keep buying them. And I mean, I understand the rationale, but it still blows my mind because I've spent years telling people that like hardcovers never, hardcovers, trades, whatever, those don't usually go up in value with some exceptions, but I didn't think these were the exceptions, and I'm learning, alright, I was wrong. So, there's that. What do we got next? We got some more of our sideshow friends, in the form of action figures. Both of the ones this week were relatively inexpensive. We had Mr. Claude Rains, or the Invisible Man. I always love this movie. This guy was really batshit crazy, or invisible head crazy. I don't really, maybe Dracula wouldn't like that analogy. And then Hunchback of Notre Dame, both Universal monsters in their own right. Both have had other incarnations, but I don't know. Whatever the case may be, these ones are just not that sought after. Series 3, I don't know. Hunchback's gonna go for 16, and Invisible Man's gonna go for 28. So, enjoy, you sideshow loving freaks. That also, I also should have been open for a Hunchback of Notre Dame should be in a sideshow joke. Off my game. What do we got next? Next, we have a Mecha. One of the huge ultimate Mechas. We got ourselves a little Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroya. Let's see. With a supercharged blast, a new Godzilla emerges from its own ashes, ready to take on Tokyo. The great monster's energy is increasing by the minute, and a meltdown threatens to vaporize the planet. But soon, Godzilla must battle the deadliest challenge yet, Destroya. When Godzilla Jr. joins the ring, only the Super 13 can put the deep freeze on the three-way monster melee. I just love reading those descriptions. I mean, the toy can go either way. No, the toy's pretty cool looking. I just love the entire premise behind these NECA boxes, the art, the presentation, all of it. Price-wise, he's probably going to be close to whatever he retailed for. I mean, I see lows at 20, highs at 40, $30. Seems normal, seems fair. He's not that old, as far as I could tell. I don't have a year on him, but I put money down that it's sometime in the last 3 years that he came out. 65th anniversary. I'd have to redouble check what the 65th anniversary of Godzilla was. My friend Mike is my Godzilla expert. If you ever watch any of these videos, feel free to sit here and tear me to shreds as you give me extra information about the movie and any inaccuracies I might have provided regarding Godzilla. I apologize in advance. yeah. So there is Gojira. Next. What is our friend here going for? Wow, that's another one that, like, beautiful piece. Maybe it's because there's too many versions of him out there. I don't know. We got ourselves a beautiful Michael Myers. Beautiful. He is from Movie Maniacs 2. He's the second wave of horror figures from, or horror icon figures from McFarlane. To be shared with also Pumpkinhead, Bride of Chucky, Psycho, Child's Play 2, and Scream. He's just not going for a whole lot, though. 15 is the low. I think that was for loose, open, without accessories. High was 51, so I think right around 32 is where he's going to go. I mean, so if you got a hole in your Movie Maniacs 2 collection, get ready to fill it. Fill it with his butcher knife that is right there. Yes, that's where my implication was going. Next. Another Star Wars piece that I really had no idea, like, what this kind of thing would go for. I had this, like, maybe I had this, like, imagination that, like, Star Wars stuff went for way more than it actually does. Maybe the market's just oversaturated at this point. Maybe people are just, like, more into the Black Series, which is, like, the current cool new thing, which, you know, are, like, very well done figures. I don't know. But the older Star Wars stuff just isn't really cutting it. Got Count Dooku here from Attack of the Clones. He's, like, sort of like a Star Wars Barbie, but they're not calling him a Barbie, but he's from Hasbro. So he'd be like the Hasbro equivalent of a Barbie. You know, he's got his lightsaber. He's posable. You could, like, set him somewhere in the box. It's kind of cool. There is, like, a nice, cool dent there. It's not, you know, a break in the box, but it doesn't look pretty either. There's a little bit of roughness there too. Dooku was at between 23 and 45. I think because of the box damage, I'm gonna go with 25 on this guy. Just round that low number up a little bit and call it a day. That low number was actually a loose Dooku, so, you know, for $2 more, you're getting a not loose Dooku with a dinged up box that if you decide the dinged up box is an issue, you're just going to open them anyway. And then in turn, you are in about the same shape as the guy with the loose one, but you know that you're the first person to touch it, and in turn, it won't have any germs on it, which is, you know, kind of a big deal right now. I mean, no, for real, it really is. But, yeah. So there's that. I feel like there's a lot more, but maybe today's... Some weeks I think I have a ton, and then other weeks I don't, but also some items have been sold, so there be that. There we are. And just as the Movie Maniacs Mark McFarlane figures surprised me with how little they go for, these cloth Mechas, as evidenced here by this lovely Jason New Beginning figure, continue to surprise me with how much they go for. So this guy was between $37 and $80. I think we're going to go about $55 on this guy. But, you know, he's a cloth Jason in a lovely janitor outfit with a butcher cleaver and various bloody accoutrements. I haven't quite figured out which are, you know, because I don't open these, so I don't know myself. I haven't figured out which are the better quality. Seems like the cloth ones are, but then why would they charge so much for like these new deluxe Ultimate Edition style ones that are touted as like very articulated and high quality? I don't know. Maybe they're just both high quality, but different kinds of high quality, and the cloth gives people sort of a closer semblance to reality, for lack of a better word. I don't know. But Mecha Jason, 55. Let's see. Oh, cool. Got a cool little dichotomy for the next two figures. It won't be the first Freddy figure that I've sold. In fact, today will be several Freddy figures. We already saw the sideshow, but we've got one from one of the Friday the 13th, or not Friday the 13th, sorry, Nightmare on Elm Street. I haven't actually seen. Some of those later ones, they're good. They're great 80s camp. I love them. But sometimes when you watch, AMC rolls around, they're like Halloween, 30 Days of Halloween. You watch the first 4 of a series of films that's got like 10 films, and sometimes you're just like, I can't do it. And that's usually about my breaking point when I get to Dream Child for Nightmare on Elm Street. I honestly can't remember if I've seen that movie completely through to the end. Looking at the little Freddy baby for the first time made me a little unsure if I had or hadn't. I'm still not entirely sure. But yeah, he's a cool figure. He's got 2 heads. He's got a hat. He's got a baby. With what I can't tell if it's an umbilical cord, a tail, or a foot. Hard to say. This bad boy is a lovely NECA that went for between $20 and $50, so nice old $35 average. But conversely, and I don't know if this is akin to our Texas Chainsaw dilemma from last week, where we had a sideshow of the original figure and we had the sideshow for the remake, and the remake was going for about $50 more than the original. I can confirm though that I've only sold the original, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure why the prices for the versions of the remake that did sell went for higher, but the remake hasn't actually sold yet. So, but we do have a remake version of Freddy from the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which did everything in its power to roll back how the other Freddy films were, where you constantly see him. He's such a Robert Englund's Freddy, such a showboat is the best way I can think of it. He looked for excuses to be on the screen and be, a horror Jerry Lewis slapstick on the screen guy. This guy, you spent most of the film not knowing what he looks like. And as we were just talking about, the remake seems to be going for more. The remake range for this fella, also a NECA, also the same kind of, plastic articulated figure, went for between $35 and $90. So I think we're going to go with about $60 on this fella. So there's that. The next group of figures, I would love to go as a set. I do have individual prices for them if it becomes necessary for that. So while we continue our conversation on remakes, there are some films that I don't think need to be remade. I find it very rare to not like and not be able to praise something of Tim Burton's, but Planet of the Apes Tim Burton did a remake of it in the 2000s, early 2000s. I was not a fan. The early 2000s was a bad time for remakes. Or I don't know if that the Eric Bana Hulk would be considered a remake. Unless you want to consider a remake of the TV show. But man, they're just not great. So that left a bad taste in my mouth, especially with how much I love the Planet of the Apes movies, the original. But then they come along with, I think it's Rise, Battle, Dawn. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm almost positive that's the order. Or I'm sorry, I even just said that wrong. I thought it right in my head, but I said it wrong. It's Rise, Dawn, Battle. I think that's right. Battle for the Planet. So that being said, we've got all 3 figures that were in this set of NECAs from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So this is Caesar's. Caesar's a little older, a little grislier. We got Caesar, grown-up Caesar. We've got Koba. And we got our good pal Maurice. I'm almost positive this is the one with Gary Oldman and not James Franco. Like each of those three movies had like one big name person to like, even if they weren't 100% the star, you were like, you know, they would come across the screen and your eye would focus on them. And it went James Franco, Gary Oldman, and the last one was oh god, it's the guy from Zombieland, Woody Harrelson. So those guys as a 3-figure set, we'd probably be doing 80 on. Again, I did ranges on all 3 figures. I think they price out if I sold each individually, they would price out to in order of what I showed you. They got more and more pricey. Caesar was 16, Kobo was 30, and Maurice was 48. So that's what? 78, 88, 94. So it'd be saving about $14 to get them all as a set. It's basically like buy Maurice and Koba and get Caesar for free, almost. So, there's those. Where is our next thing? Oh, there he is. The next thing, so working at a comic book store, I actually, you know, the catalog has a lot of things to order, but you know, sometimes you don't want to order stuff. Sometimes you want to walk into a store and look around at like what they got. And some stores have legends, some have NECAs, whatever the case might be. Our store, my store in particular, when we do have action figures in the store that we choose to stock, they usually were Marvel Selects. And I'm trying to think, like, Marvel Selects they're usually like ones that you see at specialty hobby stores. Not, you know, it's not like you couldn't see them other places, but I tended to see a large selection of them at comic book stores, card shops, things like that. Usually at like Walmart, Target, wherever, those places tended to have more in the way of legends or NECAs. That being said, I think this is the first Marvel Select I've actually shown you guys. We've got ourselves a big old Red Hulk. Big old boy. Got a little like sticker or something behind him, and definitely like got a stand. This thing is heavy. Like he is. That's like probably one of the heaviest action figures I've displayed to you guys. Just, you know, even smaller packaging than some, but heavy. These guys, when we had them in the store, usually retailed for about $25. Obviously with Corona, we're not going out of our way to stock action figures that people can't peruse. I found two very drastically wide above price range on this one. I found one loose, without like any of the pieces for $6. And the high for a brand new sealed one I saw was $48. So I think I've got 28 written for him, but I'm honestly leaning towards that retail price. I'm thinking like right about 25. So like you missed buying him when he came out, and here's your opportunity to like dip your hand back in time and pull him out of the price you would have paid. So I think that's where we're at with Red Hulk. What do we got left? Wow. I mean, compared to some of my videos, this is actually relatively short. We still have one or two things, I think. Yeah, we got two left. Man, I really don't know who I want to show first. Gotta save the good stuff for the end, you know? But it's like what should one consider good? 'Cause it's all relative. Alright, well, I think we'll go with this first. So, I'm not sure if you guys remember, we had a Tonner a couple of weeks ago. It was a Jessica Rabbit Tonner. She was pricey. She went for $4 and change on eBay. Maybe $4.50, something like that. Tonners, for those of you that weren't with us the first time, Tonners are to Barbies as Bentleys are to Nissan Sentras. Barbies aren't bad, neither are Nissan Sentras, but Tonners are better, Bentleys are better. It just so we got another Tonner this week, but this Tonner actually isn't anywhere near as high as that, and I'm sure there are a lot of factors that go into why. It could be Jessica Rabbit's just that much more popular. It could be that this figure is that much less popular. It could be because there are multiple versions of this figure in pop culture, and this is maybe not the most popular. I don't know. It's hard to say. Not that it isn't still a pretty penny, but so we got ourselves a Maleficent Tonner. She's still in there. She's still got all her goods. She's a beautiful looking piece. Huge box compared to Jessica Rabbit. I'm really thinking that they, were leaning heavy. I mean, the box actually has the Sleeping Beauty logo on it, and it looks just like the cartoon one. I mean, it's not from the Maleficent movie, so they're clearly leaning into the cartoon one. So the only thing that's going in the buyer's favor on this guy, but even then, it's not like a huge amount less. Is there's a nice box puncture there. There's a little roughness there. Now, I think that this is the type of figure that if you're going to own it, you should probably display it. And in that respect, the box doesn't really matter. But, as I've stated many times, I also can understand wanting your box to be pristine, and the lack of it being so would upset some people. That being said, what's our girl Maleficent going for? There you are. So Maleficent had a straight difference between 100 for a loose one and 200 for a brand new one. We're gonna put this in the middle at first and say, hey, 150 is the average, but I'm heavily leaning towards knocking another $25 off for the box damage inconvenience related to that. $125. It's pretty good for a Tonner. I just got done selling like a regular Barbie Supergirl the other day, and her buy it now price was $90. That's a regular Barbie, so that's not that far off. And usually the Tonners are supposed to be like leagues and bounds ahead price wise. So if you're a fan of Maleficent in any iteration, that's probably for you. Our last piece for today is a Beggin. It's not as big as the last Marvel premiere statue I showed you, but I actually have a feeling that this will garner more interest. He's got this like weird cult following, because he looks kind of like the Batman of the Marvel universe. But we got ourselves a Marvel premiere Moon Knight. It's limited number. Out of 3,000, he is 429. Oh my god, he's beautiful. He's like battle worn. He's got a little like perch. Just love this guy, man. Beautiful piece. I heavily considered taking this one for myself and buying it, and I couldn't bear it. And it wasn't because there's anything wrong with it, I personally, have been very sparing with things that I have purchased from the collection, and anything I did purchase, I did show on YouTube for just full transparency there. A lot of times I was mulling them over in my head, and I'm like, let's see if anybody else wants them first. And, in the instances that I did take anything, it would be like people either didn't show any interest or the interest was like very lowball. So I'm like, I'm the one selling the stuff, and I'm not gonna lowball. So, but beautiful piece. So full disclosure here, the comic book store that I do work for did sell this to Frank, the owner of all these lovely items that you see. And our policy, whether people agree with it or not, is we open every statue. Some people might not agree with that. I would still consider this new. Our reason behind that is if there's any damage to the figure, there is a small window to get the distribution company to replace it. Both because they only authorize it for so long, and two, especially with limited number figures, they're not usually, you know what I mean? Like, there's only so many out there, so if you, like, blink and they're gone, you can't get it replaced. So you sit on the thing for 10 years and it was damaged the whole time. You know, guess what? You paid for a whole lot of broken. I did not inspect this figure personally. I will, to ensure a second sort of set of eyes on it. But because it was purchased from my store, and it went from being in our store to leaving our store, that means that it was good at the time that it came in. But again, that being said, Frank never displayed the item. It was in storage. It was probably never opened by him. But, yeah, so I would probably have to consider this new other. You know, like when you see that on eBay, it's new, but the seal is broken. And I can and we've confirmed why. Price. I actually thought this guy would be more. That's part of one of the reasons why I'm considering it, because again, you know, if I'm gonna buy it, I still gotta use real money too, not Monopoly money. And some of these Marvel premieres are boku dollars. This guy's not one of them. He, you know, $150 isn't anything to scoff at, but it's not a $450 tonner. His range was 100 to 200. 100 was used, 200 was brand new, and they claimed sealed. And again, in instances like this, I almost don't want sealed, because sealed means that person doesn't know if it's broken or not. And then I open it up and they're like, well, I never opened it. How do I know you didn't break it? Like, me being the buyer. So, yeah, so we're going to put $150 on him, and I doubt he will last long, because there's this like weird, not insane, well, Mark Spector's insane, but there's a cult following for this guy. He's got his own Disney Plus show in the works. People have been speculating on him for years. I mean, I've read some of the comics. He's pretty cool too, just in general. So, yeah. But that's it, folks. I don't know. It felt like a lot, but I guess it really wasn't that much. I mean, it was 42 minutes worth as opposed to like 55 minutes worth. I will try to have all these items posted by tonight. As always, I've been your friendly neighborhood comic book dude. Again, if you are interested in our Mad Titan back there, feel free to comment numerically, as I pointed out at the beginning of the video. We can always use more likes, comments, and subscriptions either way. Share me with your friends, you know, for a laugh, or for just the collectible sharing goodness, you know? Until next time. Bye.